Weinstein movie residuals to women's charities after the breaking news of the sexual harassment scandal involving Harvey Weinstein. Mm-hmm. Are you guys familiar with?
Yeah.
It's pretty crazy.
The new horror/thriller movie, The Snowman, is reported to be unwatchable, starring Michael Fassbender.
Yeah, I saw previews for that, and I wasn't sure if it was a joke or if it was actually a scary movie. And then it said like from the best-selling book, and I was like, "What?"
Yeah, it's
what
from
book?
a novel.
What does he mean when they say unwatchable?
I read. That's all he sent. That's all James sent me. It was very minimalist, but I had read earlier today an article on this, and they just said that this movie is so bad that it made Michael Fassbender look like a shitty actor.
Wow.
Well, I feel like from the trailer, like that voice that they put over, it just feels very cheesy. Like
It was like a Jigsaw ripoff.
Oh, and what does he say? Something like, "Oh, by the time you figure out who I am, I will have already built another snowman." Something like very Bane-esque or something. It was weird.
Yeah, the threat. Yeah, it didn't seem real. It just looked very cheesy. It came out like I was watching something. I was like, what is this?
do you know what character Fassbender plays in that one?
The snowman.
No. No, he's not the killer. He's I believe he's like a detective, but they said that he's like a chain smoker and that they make him just feel very dull and he's doesn't really do much, and he's supposed to be like this kind of alcoholic, but they don't ever give you any exposition on him that kind of makes him interesting. Mm-hmm. So it's basically like he was just given this role where he couldn't really do much with. And I feel like Fassbender is a very, very much beloved actor. Mm-hmm. I think
definitely.
He's one of like the biggest actors I think of our generation right now. And so there's got to be something wrong if people are shitting on this movie that hard.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, someone didn't direct him correctly.
Or they just grabbed him for the name, to make the movie seem bigger than what it really is.
Yeah, the movie was probably already shitty before.
I think that it's very unfortunate because he's just coming off of Assassin's Creed, which was kind of shit, too.
Yeah, no one watched that. I mean, we saw it like a preview and we're like, no.
Yeah, I barely just watched it a couple weeks ago and I think I fell asleep.
Oh, man. Some of those video game movies.
All of them, pretty much. It's like a curse.
Except for like Mortal Kombat.
Always.
That's a classic.
Oh, but did you guys see the new trailer for the Tomb Raider movie?
Yeah, the girl from Ex Machina, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm,
is playing Lara Croft.
It looks fun. I'm curious on what the rating's going to be like, but it looks very authentic to what the newer games are, because the newer games are really good.
Really sick. Yeah, I don't know.
I don't have an opinion about it. I don't play video games, and so. But I thought didn't people like the original one, or is that not a thing? I don't know. I didn't.
The original movie.
Yeah, I feel like
not very good, but Angelina Jolie was like.
In her prime.
Pretty prime at that time, Yeah. But the actual movie was not very good.
Oh, okay.
I think people just accept it because of her, and because that's really all there is for that game. Mm-hmm. And like, I'm a huge fan, so I'm pretty stoked for this new one.
Cool.
Yeah.
I feel like the chick, it's not exaggerated. It's very much like they're not hypersexualizing her character,
mm-hmm.
Yeah,
and I'm really
definitely.
into that. I feel like she just feels like a normal person.
Yeah. What about the Mario Brothers movie with John Leguizamo?
He really wants to prove you wrong on that.
I'm
trying to think of a good video game movie, but
one can argue Silent Hill.
Silent Hill
is a pretty good movie, even though, there's not too much.
The Resident Evil movies?
Maybe the first one.
Yeah.
But
There's way too many of those.
They kind of, I feel like they fucked up the first one by making like 10 sequels that just didn't need to be made.
Is it 10? I'm sure it is.
There's a lot.
It's a lot of them.
They just had the final chapter that they called, and then after the final chapter, they had planned this before. They're rebooting it. So they're just gonna like
with a whole new actor.
So Mila's not in it anymore.
No, it'll just be they're supposed to follow the game.
So this is just gonna be like an endless cycle.
I think there's like 7 movies.
There's gotta
Honestly,
be.
I don't even know.
There's gotta be.
The last of James's news is Terminator 6 is due to start filming March 2018. I think we talked about this maybe last episode that James Cameron kind of shit on Wonder Woman, and I told James, I was like, this feels very forced, like he's trying to hype up some project that he's got in the works, and lo and behold, because he was like, no, Wonder Woman's whatever, like, or you want to like think about a real badass woman, think about Linda Hamilton in T2, and we just went to watch Judgment Day, right, in the theater. So it's relevant, but I knew that he was saying that because there was something coming up, and then all of a sudden, like a few weeks later, they're like, oh, Linda Hamilton is coming back to the Terminator franchise or whatever.
Didn't she have some health issues?
I don't know. I haven't really heard anything about her for years.
Yeah. I thought I thought she had like some mental health issues, and that's why she wasn't acting.
No, I didn't.
Didn't you say she was with?
Yeah, she was married to James Cameron back then for a while, like years ago.
I did not know that.
Yeah. That's interesting.
When they made the movie?
I think it was around the time, yeah. Because then he also dated Catherine Bigelow, who directed Point Break with Keanu and the newer movie Detroit. Do you guys know about that one?
I didn't see it, but I saw the trailer. Yeah,
I heard that one's good. Anyway, she's a good filmmaker, but he's dated a bunch of people.
Is he married now?
I don't know. I don't follow him too.
Oh, so he's
closely.
a bachelor.
He's on Entourage.
Is he?
Remember when they make the big deal about the con stuff, and they're like trying to get his approval, or he's supposed to direct Aquaman or something.
Yeah. Oh man.
So he was just like a rapper, like releasing a diss track to like get his hype up, like he's trying to say like fuck Wonder Woman. I got some new shit coming.
Yeah, but the things that he's saying about it was kind of fucked up, saying that it was like they were exploiting women with Wonder Woman and a bunch of like bold stuff. Yeah, it's just like, well, then go back to the origins of the DC writers, because they basically were pulling from the pages of the book, I don't know. Anyway, do you guys want to jump into recommendations now?
Sure. Yeah, let's do it.
And go back to Annie.
Oh, okay. Okay, so my first one is a TV recommendation. This one I didn't think I was gonna be into, but it's oh, maybe I'm getting the name wrong. It's no, I'm sorry. It's Little Big Lies on HBO.
Oh yeah.
Big Little Lies.
I'm sorry.
Big
Little Lies.
With Reese Witherspoon?
Yeah, it's Big Little Lies. There you go. They knew. I was like, I know.
I've never seen it, but my friends are like, oh, this show, you have to watch it.
I had heard from someone that it was really good, but I didn't bother to ask, like, what is it about? So it's a HBO mini-series. It came out this year in April. It's based on a novel, and it's about it follows 3 mothers in Monterey Bay in California, and it's they were like rich and beautiful, and they have all these like beautiful families, and they live on the beach, and and I thought like, oh, and just from the previews I didn't really get too much about like what it would be about, but it's actually pretty dark. It's got like a dark undertone. You know right away how it's going to end, so it's playing out like you're trying to figure out like what led them to that outcome from the beginning. And so you, as a viewer, you already know what's going to happen, but you're trying to piece together like, how did this happen? It stars Nicole Kidman, Reese Witherspoon, Shailene Woodley, Alexander Skarsgård, and Laura Dern. And they're usually like actors that I don't care too much about, but I think they're outstanding in this show. Like, I understand why people were making a big deal about this show. They play like over the top like people, and it's still believable. It's supposed to be a bit comical, but these like really just like weird and dark situations that they put themselves. And when I mean dark, I mean like they're all being malicious to each other and thinking that this is like normal life. So I think it's really good. I think you guys should check it out. Any comments about? Have you guys anyone seen it?
I haven't finished it yet. I kind of shelved it, but not because it wasn't good. I just have a lot of stuff going on. Mm-hmm. But what I have seen, I thought was really good. Like you said, it's very dark and unexpected almost. Mm-hmm. At least going into it. Did you mention Zoe Kravitz?
Yeah, she's in there too. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I thought that was cool that she's in there. I'm actually a pretty big fan of Reese, like in general. So it was fun because I think she got this made. This project was made because of her, and she was afraid. She thought nobody was gonna dig it, and that it became this overwhelming hit. So now they're thinking about doing another book from the same author or something.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, or continuing it somehow. But anyway, yeah, that's what I got.
Yeah.
Good recommendation for sure.
And then my movie recommendation is a movie called Sleeping with Other People. It's on Netflix, and it was released in 2015. It's about these two people who slept together in college, and I'm not giving anything away because that's in the first minute. Mm-hmm. And he's like a charmer and like womanizer, and she's like a chronic cheater. So they have this like unlikely friendship, and I thought the movie was good, and then I got to a point where I thought like, wow, if this is the ending, this is really good. But then it kind of lost me at the last like, and I the only reason I know the time is because I paused it, but the last 18 minutes of the movie were kind of like cheesy and really unnecessary, but I still thought it was worth the watch, because it's kind of not your traditional like rom-com. Yeah, it stars Alison Brie, who is in Mad Men, and she's also the main character in Glow, and Jason Sudeikis, who's hilarious in everything.
And Adam Scott, who's also in your other show that you just
yeah. There's a lot of
right Adam
Scott.
From Step Brothers.
Yes.
Yeah.
I was trying to think.
Yeah, there's a lot of overlap. I mean, there's overlap with Reese Witherspoon today with the movie, too. She was married to Ryan Phillippe for a long time.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
So, yeah. And then my last recommendation is a theater... Well, it's not really a theater recommendation, but it is. So, the movie's called Tony. It's like Tony / the movie, and it's actually a documentary about this guy named Tony Rodriguez, and it follows him as he interviews public officials about the homeless population issue in San Diego. And there's movie showings all over San Diego County right now, and leading up to the release next month. And I thought it was it was a pretty good movie. It was a pretty good insight on like the homeless population issue. But he also goes to Houston, Texas, and Seattle, Washington to talk to public officials there and how they've addressed this issue and how they've decreased their homeless population and like the tactics that they've used to do that. And so it kind of really puts a face to the issue, and also it's something that I think a lot of people are talking about right now because of the hepatitis A outbreak. It's very much in our face.